Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on. Thank you very much, Ian Wright. And with an introduction like that, all I have to say is people deluded. I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you've all started Monday in the best possible way. Please do me a favor on entry of watching this video. I know you're on YouTube because that's the only way you can be seeing it. Smash the like button, get the creative juices flowing, and leave a comment. We're finally getting some motion. We're rapidly closing on 60k subs, people. The journey and the target, better yet, for 2024 is 70k. So DG Nation, let's keep going. Now, obviously, the international break is drawing to an end. Obviously, I don't know if you watched England versus Brazil. I think that was a very entertaining, but not entertaining game. We all know on Sunday we've got Manchester City, but in the meantime, we've got nothing else to go over other than, you know, the rumours and all of these things concerning Arsenal Football Club. So let's do exactly that. As I said, get the creative juices flowing and let me know your thoughts on everything, people. And let me share my screen with you. Now, several news outlets are linking us with Morgan Gibbs White of Nottingham Forest, previously of Wolves. He's played for England at under 21s levels, actually won youth competitions with Emil Smith Rowe for England. Now, I don't know the credibility of those rumours, if I'm honest with you. I think Nottingham Forest, I'm sure their fans would agree. If you just type in Nottingham Forest transfer rumours, every player is linked with a move away because apparently Forest have issues around profit and sustainability rules. You know, we was linked with Murillo, the centre-half, and now we've been linked with Morgan Gibbs White. For what it's worth, I think he's got a great mentality and he would fit in at Arsenal. He's obviously young with a lot of upside. I actually think his technical level is quite decent. He wasn't a player I necessarily rated per se, but I like him a lot, if I'm honest with you. So I don't feel it's a needle mover. I don't feel it's necessarily the right signing for Arsenal. But if it was to happen, and that's what Mikel Arteta wants to do, then fair enough. I'm talking on YouTube. He's the gaffer, and he's shown since he's walked into this football club, he'll make some unpopular decisions, which, of course, I'm sure he would say he makes mistakes and he'll make mistakes again, like everyone. But the crucial decisions he's got right, to bring back in Granit Xhaka when the world wanted him gone, to get rid of Aubameyang, to get rid of Guendouzi, to get rid of Ozil, to bring in Kai Havertz, you know, to bring in Ramsdale and Benjamin White at the time. You could argue, you know, now people are seeing it with David Raya, but bringing in David Raya, you know, when to actually blood Saliba and Martinelli and play them on a regular basis. You know, the Martin Odegaard signing, not everybody at the point of him walking into the club was convinced. So as I said, the manager can make mistakes. He will make mistakes. I expect him to make mistakes because that's the only way you get better. But so far, so good. If he wants Morgan Gibbs White, fair enough. But allegedly, Arsenal are targeting Nottingham Forest star Morgan Gibbs White ahead of the summer transfer window, reports suggest. We all know we're fighting for the league title, allegedly, you know, our first since 2004, which I was in year 4. And fond memories, I remember being called a glory hunter supporting Arsenal Football Club. Hopefully we can get back to those days. Personally, I don't look at the league table. I don't know where Arsenal are in the league table. I only look in August and I'll look in May, but based on the sentiment, that's great. And I'd love to win the trophy. Apparently, the North Londoners are always keeping an eye on the summer transfer market as manager Mikel Arteta rebuild continues. Now, you'd imagine Edu and Arteta know exactly what they want to do in the market when the time comes. And Edu and his team are probably doing what they need to do in the back burners. According to the Star, Arteta is planning on some major transfer business come June. The Spanish tactician is looking to reshape his ranks, and the club is keen on adding Morgan Gibbs White, 24, to the squad. Obviously, he's English as well, helps with the homegrown stuff, which on paper, Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, and Ketia. Who else is there? Ramsdale, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Emil Smith Rowe, if I haven't said that already. Either way, potentially a lot of homegrown boys could leave. Apparently, reports suggest Smith Rowe could leave. And actually, you know, Eddie Nketiah's been linked with Nottingham Forest and Wolves, so maybe there's some swap deals to be had there. I wouldn't say he's necessarily a direct replacement for Smith Rowe, who's on the peripheral things. For the fee that they probably asked for Morgan Gibbs White, just as for argument's sake, as a fan, is he going to be the long-term partner for Declan Rice then? Or is he going to be someone that's a squad filler? I don't know. Apparently, the same source claims Nottingham Forest are weighing up cashing in on their star man. This comes after the tricky trees were hit with a 4-point deduction for breaching profit and sustainability rules. Considering the fact that we sold them Matt Turner and loaned Tavares there's got to be a decent communicational channel between both clubs. Thus, player departures are on the card as Forest look to balance the books. Now, that's where I don't doubt that Arsenal probably have an admiration for Morgan Gibbs White, have scouted him, etc. But that's where I start to doubt these reports because, again, nobody knows. This could be true. But it just seems like, they're hit with a 4-point ban, obvious 4 points deduction, apologies. There's stuff going on with sanctions for profit and sustainability. Then one of their key star players is linked with Arsenal Football Club, where we're doing the youth rebuild. And just before that, a couple of days ago, he's linked with their centre-half, Murillo. He's been linked with a number of European clubs. So I'm not doubting it, but it's a bit too coincidental for me, people. As you know, Nottingham Forest are in a relegation scrap, and Gibbs White is focused on that. And I like his mentality the most. I must admit, I did raise my eyebrows when they signed him for 44.5 million quid. I still think that's expensive, but he's done quite well for them. In 2 seasons, he's played 71 times and is a key player for them. So let me know your thoughts on that. Now, Diamande, a player who plays for Ivory Coast and currently Sporting Lisbon. Every week, we're linked with a new Sporting Lisbon player. We're tracking him for his days in Denmark. We all know we need defensive reinforcements. My preference would be a Tomiyasu Timber kind of guy that can play in a number of positions defensively. I'm open to a centre-back that can play right back, or a centre-half that's on the left side that could play left back, in addition to what we've got with Timber, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Kirill, Gabriel, Saliba. I guess you don't want to see it, but on paper, Declan Rice can fill in there as well. So I do think we're missing a trick with defensive reinforcements. You would like, on a rare occasion, to be able to save the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, Benjamin White's legs. And as much as I like Tomiyasu, and I know Zinchenko isn't flavour of the month and there's certain conditions and games for him, but the one knock I would say against them is there's injuries. Up until recently, Cedric was our only defender on the bench, and you'd imagine next season we won't be talking about Cedric. So, yeah. I don't know what our summer is going to entail. We're going to have to probably spend a decent amount of money. You'd imagine a striker is high on the priority list. I don't know if we'll sign a winger, dependent on the profile in the club. You could be looking at 50 odd plus for a winger, 50 odd all the way to 100 for a striker. You would imagine a central midfielder around the 60 odd million kind of range. Of course, there could be exceptions. And obviously, we're getting in the Champions League. You'd imagine we're going to sell some decent players, and the KSC Cronkies are going to inject some money. So we're going to have to spend a lot. But I just wonder, are we going to spend significantly on one defender? And if they do, it has to surely, obviously, squad and all of that, but surely it has to be someone that's going to put pressure on the great partnership of Gabriel and Saliba, and maybe take one of their places if the form dictates. Potentially, if they can play right back Benjamin White and add to the mix at left back, I don't know really. I do think there's an admiration for this individual, but apparently Arsenal are still keeping close tabs on Sporting star Osman Diamande. 4 days later, Ebola stated the Gunners could have an advantage over their Premier League rivals in the transfer race. Also been linked with Chelsea and Newcastle. Monday's edition of The Record claims Arsenal had looked at the 20-year-old even before he joined the Lions from Michelin in January of 2023. They also provide the latest on the North London club's plan to try and sign him in the summer. Arteta has reportedly asked for a new centre-back, and this has seen Arsenal now decide to focus on Diamande. It's claimed the Premier League side have informed both the Ivory Coast International's agent and sporting directors that they will start negotiations for his signing. He has an 80 million release clause in a deal that lasts until 2027. So it's going to cost a lot of money, and he's just got his feet under the door at Sporting, and they know Premier League clubs have money, so it's going to cost a lot. Early this month, reported Chelsea are taking the lead by and were offering 60 million euros plus bonuses to get closer to the figure mentioned in the clause. This pointed out, and the newspaper states, Arsenal now offer the same fee for Diamande, and the fee could further increase if bonuses are included. And you know the way we do things in comparison to Chelsea, there's going to probably be a lot more incentivized kind of deal, which probably would have saved them if they took that same logic with the Mudryk deal. I haven't seen someone fleece like that in a hot minute, really and truly. But anyways, apparently, as well as Arsenal and Chelsea, Bayern Munich and Newcastle are also showing interest in him. You go to Munich, that could be a good look for you, Arsenal, and I hate to say it, but Chelsea, regardless of their current stuff, is a good club to join, as is Newcastle United with what they're doing. I don't know if you know, we're really going to go for this guy. You know, I do think it's really leverage off the sense of we need probably a couple of defensive reinforcements, or at least one as a minimum. And we've previously tracked this guy, and obviously he's in his early 20s. He ties into what we're doing collectively as a club. Fabrizio Romano has spoken on Smith Rowe, which I'm probably going to start crying now. Smash the like button, people. In terms of what will happen in the summer, I think a lot depends on these final 2 months, how much he will play and be involved. And then Arsenal will make the final decision together with the player, who has 2 years left on his deal. And if there hasn't been any contract talk started, I think that says everything. If there has, then great. This is not something clear yet, so let's wait and see how the situation looks after the final stages of the season. Smith Rowe was on West Ham's list in January, but at the time, he really wanted to stay at Arsenal, and also Mikel Arteta wanted to keep him. This should be a season we should be talking about Smith Rowe indirectly with getting in the England squad. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. This was the clear decision of both parties. Then let's see if it changes for the summer, but there's nothing concrete to report as of now. On his teammate at club and country level, Aaron Ramsdale, Dharma Sheffer said, publicly, Arsenal aren't going to say anything while they're in the midst of trying to get the title and now the Champions League, of course, as well. Right, we're fighting for the Champions League as well as the Prem. As I said, I just watch football. I don't know all the other connotations, but we must be doing all right. But it's obviously going to come to a head in the summer, because Arsenal will have to generate money as well, like any other club, before they go into the market to, I think they mean try and bring in players. Ramsdale's an England international. If he wants to continue being an England international come the summer, it's going to have to be a situation where, just not for him, but just for his career, really, he's going to need to get first team football. Fair enough, really, if I'm completely honest with you. Gyokeres, the Sporting Lisbon Swedish international striker, who's taking, taking things by storm in Portugal and for Sporting Lisbon. Apparently, this could be good news for us people, because he has 100-odd million release clause. There's some rumors they want to give him a new deal and increase that to 120. According to reports, the Sporting attacker Victor Gyokeres might sign with Arsenal or Chelsea in the summer for just half the amount of his release clause, which would be a quick profit on the 20 million Sporting gave to Coventry to sign him, people. You'd imagine there's a sell-on clause from a Coventry perspective, and if there isn't, that's an L. And obviously, you'd imagine Sporting Lisbon would want that. 36 goals in all comps is ridiculous at any level, if I'm honest with you. As you know, Arsenal and Chelsea were linked in the summer, as well as, in January. And you'd imagine as we approach the summer, these rumours won't go away. He has a €100 million release clause, which equates to about £86 million, people. And you'd imagine both clubs, naturally, from a business sense, would want to negotiate something lower. Apparently, Sporting are willing to sell him for as cheap as 43 million, with the Portuguese powerhouse willing to reduce their asking price by half. I hear that, but would you want to do that now? You'd imagine he's under contract for a number of years. He's taking the league by storm. He's 25. So if he not only does this year, but stays over there and does it again, in a day and age where there ain't too many strikers that are really, being held in high regards, you could probably count them on one hand. It don't really make sense. And on top of that, he's evidently helping Sporting Lisbon achieve what they want to achieve. That being said, it's the belly of the beast. Sporting are not silly. You get these players on the cheap. You get them for pennies. You sell them for pounds. We just went over the Diamande stuff. He's going to go for big money. Gyokeres could go for big money. Diamande centre-half partner, Inacio, I believe, could go for big money. And by the time I probably finish this video, there's some players sourced from all over the world for Sporting Lisbon and some homegrown Portuguese talent that could also be sold for big money. Apparently, he's contracted until 2028, so that says everything, people. AC Milan allegedly following interest as well, but you'd imagine Chelsea and Arsenal have more financial muscle. So that could be good news for Arsenal, because it's almost a low-risk operation where, you'd imagine that kind of similar feel just beyond that for Tony with a year left on his deal. Obviously, if you want to sign someone like Osimhen, it's costing his release clause of around 100 million. So if we really did our due diligence and we're convinced on him, let the negotiations begin. On the topic of Osimhen, I must admit it is quite boring to speak on this, but, smash the like button for you lot. Arsenal reach 90 million euros to sign prolific forward this summer. Player will leave intermediaries already in action. At this moment in time, there is no certainty that Victor Osimhen will be leaving Napoli this summer, despite a lot of interest from England, including from Arsenal. While the Gunners are doing extremely well in the Premier League and set to face Bayern Munich in the Champions League, there's a feeling an out-and-out striker is needed at the Emirates. The Nigeria international is exactly that, and has proven his ability to find the back of the net in Italy, catching the eye of big clubs along the way, including Arsenal, as pointed out by this. They are confident that Osimhen will leave, mostly because he is the first to push for a move away from the south of Italy and a change of scenery. So we haven't learned anything yet. The striker is looking for a new adventure, and various intermediaries are already in action as his agent has failed to bring in the right offer for the Serie A side to this date. Once upon a time, his agents were actually at London Cole in the summer we signed Jesus. Right now, it's said Arsenal and Chelsea, along with Paris Saint-Germain, are ready to reach 90 million euros to get him, with no one prepared to meet the 130 million clause in his contract. However, despite previous claims, it's added that Aurelio De Laurentiis does not demand for it to be met to let his star leave, making the transfer a bit more affordable. That's obviously to boost their negotiating hand signing that new deal, really. West Ham have been linked with Ivan Toney, which is a far cry, respectfully, to West Ham from Arsenal, Chelsea, and he's been, anyone that listens, the latest he's been talking about wouldn't mind signing for Real Madrid. I mean, do your thing, really. I don't imagine it'd be a good signing for West Ham, but yeah, I think we've moved away from Ivan Toney. Where Jorginho's concerned, reports in the last 2 weeks have said he's set to sign a new improved deal at Arsenal, and his recent performances have justified that. Reports out of Italy are actually saying that there might be something else. Apparently, talks essentially have broken down on him, people, and he could be returning to Italy and signing for Juventus. Now, he's always linked with moves to Italy for obvious reasons. One thing that helps Arsenal is, there's an option to extend his contract by a further year, rather than, so if giving him a new outright contract don't work, then you could extend it. And it'd be interesting to see what we do in the summer regarding everyone, because you look in the middle of the park, the only one that, for me anyways, provides proper clarity is Declan Rice. Like the people that play behind Odegaard in the pivot, El Nene might not be here. Jorginho, it looks like they want to keep you, but it all depends on what he wants to do. Nobody expected Granit Xhaka to leave. Jorginho might say, you know what, I love the project, I love what's going on here, but career short, I might get a big money offer I can't refuse, or I might just want to play in my native Brazil or my adopted country in Italy. Thomas Partey, 1 minute there's rumors of a new deal on the table, then there's rumors we're trying to move him on. Allegedly, all the credible journalists said we tried to move him on in the summer. And then when you look at the kind of hybrid players, Kai Havertz is going to be here, but he looks better up front and he will play in central midfield. But you'd imagine, he's a multifunctional guy rather than a consistent man to partner Declan Rice. Jorginho, we've spoken on. El Nene, we've spoken on. Partey, we've spoken on. Fabio Vieira, if you can't stay fit, you're not going to get a chance at that left 8. Smith Rowe's future's in the balance. There's a lot of uncertainty in the middle of the park, really. Up front, we've got some good options for the short, medium, and long term. The same said defensively. The middle of the park is what I want to see addressed to go to the next level beyond the obvious. Mikel Arteta and Edu, you were midfielders, so let's get on that. So we'll have to see with Jorginho, but until it comes out that he signed a new deal, speculation over not just his, but several players' futures will continue. Speaking of this, people, there were some reports, speaking of midfielders, that Gladbach would have to sell. And there was also some reports that they'll let Manu Kone go for 20 million euros. Player I like. I think he's fallen off the ball a bit, but at 22 years of age, he's a perfect kind of player, if I'm completely honest. Allegedly, if we can't get Zubimendi, we might look for him really and truly. So we'll have to see. But I would prefer Zubimendi, if I'm completely honest with you. As it says here, the Frenchman has endured a difficult season after being one of Gladbach's previous standout performers. As I said, he's kind of struggled, and he's only featured in 18 Bundesliga matches this term due to suspension and injury, but he remains quote unquote highly rated. He's played 81 times for Gladbach, people. In October of 2023, they triggered a 1-year option in his contract, which keeps him until 2026. So the next 18 months are very vital in this guy's future. Apparently, it could be done for around 21 million, which is one of the more cheaper midfielders we've been linked with. Romano has said, I'm not aware of anything concrete with Manu Kone and Arsenal for now. Kone could be an interesting one to follow in the summer in general, as he was on the list of PSG and Liverpool 1 year ago, but I'm not sure it's a name on Arsenal's list right now. So the young Frenchman is in demand. Once again, we've gone over the Gyokeres stuff and his release clause, or better yet, his asking price potentially dropping. We've gone over the Jorginho stuff, but it says Arsenal suddenly stopped contract negotiations according to reports from Italy, which I don't believe. But Jorginho's got a lot to think about, really and truly, of what he wants to do. You've only got one life and one career. Arsenal and Aston Villa have been linked with Real Sociedad defender Robin Lenormand. Forgive me for butchering the 27-year-old's name, people. Looks quite decent. I can't imagine we're going to go for him, but his price tag seems to have dropped to 40 million euros. And he's been linked with a move and linking up with former Arsenal manager Unai Emery. So we'll have to watch that. We've been also linked with João Neves, a young midfielder that looks very good at Benfica, but he's going to cost a lot of money. According to reports from Spain on a Portuguese club about what an English club or clubs want to do, okay, he features on Arsenal's list. Arsenal will likely compete in the market for a new high-profile midfielder in the summer, as Arteta sees another significant addition. João Neves had emerged on their list as reports before January suggested they were thinking of activating his 120 million euro release clause. This article's gone on to say people, Man United, Liverpool, City, as well as us, are interested. And apparently Benfica actually want to offer him a new deal. Quality player, but just because he's basically just got his feet wet as a professional footballer at this level, I can't imagine. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I can't imagine at this moment in time everybody's willing to pull that 120 million euros price tag clause, really, because there's a lot of unanswered questions in terms of ability. Great. We've been linked with Nottingham Forest's Murillo, as we've heard before. Apparently, Arsenal could be tempted to sign the 21-year-old, who apparently has a price tag of around 50 million. Been linked with PSG, Barcelona, Arsenal, and a couple of clubs, so there must be something to like about him. We seem to still be linked with left-backs, people. Apparently, Miguel Gutierrez is still keen to return to Real Madrid, regardless of what they're doing and their pursuit for Alphonso Davies. But apparently, the club pushing hardest to sign Miguel Gutierrez is Arsenal. The player's priority is returning to Madrid. So if a move to Madrid can't happen, then he might find himself in London. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed, people, and all the players. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, from the bottom of my heart, DG Nation, appreciative of all of you lot tuned in. Don't forget to boost the algorithm, and I can only do that with your help. You lot stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll link up again soon. Peace.